In this video, we're going to look at finding the solution set and graphing the solution set for an inequality. Our inequality is going to be 18x plus 45 is greater than 12x minus 8. So anytime you're looking at a problem like this, an inequality, you want to go ahead and isolate the x just like you would with an equation. So we want to get the x's. In this case, I'm going to move them to the left-hand side. So first of all, I'm going to subtract 12x from both sides. And of course, our 18x minus 12x is going to leave us with 6x on the left-hand side plus 45. And that's going to be greater than negative 8. And so let's go ahead and get the term with the x completely isolated. So I'm going to subtract 45 from both sides. Of course, that's going to cancel out. So now we have isolated the 6x on the left-hand side. And negative 8 minus 45 is going to give us negative 53. And so now we need to divide both sides by 6. Now we're dividing by a positive number here, so we are not going to switch the inequality like we would if it were a negative number. But that's the only thing you would want to keep up with in a problem like this. If you did divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to switch the inequality. So this time we don't, and we're going to have x is bigger than negative 53 over 6. Now, if you want to kind of get an idea of where that is, you can divide 6 into 53, and that's going to give you almost 9, so it's going to give you 8 and some change. So if you just want to go to around negative 9, if you wanted to count out your tick marks, you could do that. Of course, you could be lazy like I'm going to do, and you could just automatically put you a tick mark and call that negative 53 over 6. That's perfectly okay too. And so now we need to interpret our answer. Let's go ahead and write our answer in interval notation, and then we'll interpret it or translate it to the graph. So if x is bigger than negative 53 over 6, that means we want all of the numbers, of course, that are larger than or to the right of negative 53 over 6. So negative 53 over 6 is going to be the left-hand kind of limit or endpoint, and we're going to put a parenthesis around that when we're talking about interval notation. And the reason for that parenthesis is because we do not have the equal to bar underneath the greater than. So anytime you don't have that equal to bar, you do a parenthesis. If you did have the equal to bar, then you would put a bracket. So we want all the numbers that are bigger than negative 53 over 6, so everything from negative 53 over 6 all the way toward positive infinity. And so that's going to be our answer in interval notation. We can go ahead and translate that to our graph. At 53 over 6 negative, we're going to put a parenthesis. You could also do an open circle. Some textbooks do that. And we're going to shade everything to the right because we want everything bigger than the negative 53 over 6. And we'll go ahead and shade the arrow too just to indicate that it keeps going. But that's it. There's your answer. So in conclusion, anytime you have an inequality like this, you want to isolate the x, then you want to translate it to interval notation, and then translate it to the graph.